If you dream of flight, this item is found in the land of eternal night, and interestingly, it's the only item with durability which cannot die in Minecraft, just like a king, but like a king, it can be cancelled, and interestingly, it has its own death message, and even more intriguing than that, there are so many ways that you can use this to your advantage that many players just don't. There are many ways you can customize this item, and I want to teach you about all of those, because when it comes to transportation, this item is an absolute star, and speaking of star, hello, I'm IBX Toycat, and this is your ultimate guide to the Elytra. And so if you want to get an Elytra, you have to do your standard making a wooden pickaxe to a stone pickaxe, to make yourself a bucket, to make yourself a portal, so you can get yourself some Eye of Enders, find yourself the stronghold, and go to the end where you've got to defeat the Ender Dragon, go through an end portal, and boom, wow, is that an end city you find? Now this is the structure which is responsible for the Elytra, and many people think that, oh god, you've got to fight shulkers, which are a nightmare in and of themselves. However, the truth is, you can basically ignore 90% of this and 50% of these structures, because the only part that you want is this right here, the end city ship. All you want to do is get yourself directly below that. In my case, I think that's going to require an ender pearl. Oh, please, please save me from this ender pearl. Yes! I'm going to need myself an ender pearl to get underneath this, and what I would recommend, honestly, is the Elytra will save you from so many end shenanigans that just go straight to it and stack yourself up first. Now, there are some people who would advocate going side by side with the structure and climbing on the top. I certainly say that's like the easiest way if you don't know what you're up to, but if you're watching this guide anyway, I would recommend coming in through the floor of the end city, which you can do just like this. There's a couple of blocks to get through, and if you come in via the floor, there's a secret thing available to you, which is you don't have to deal with any of the shulkers besides the one guarding the Elytra itself. And so right over, oh, he's actually gone. He must have teleported trying to get me. And so right here, I can get in and get the Elytra without ever having to fight a mob that isn't the Void, which is wonderful. Also, you can get access to all the other stuff here, but this isn't the ultimate guide to cool things you can find in end cities. It's the ultimate guide to the Elytra, which by itself was already a formidable force when they added it back in 1.9, but look at this, we can glide across our world, but crucially in 1.11 they added the firework ability, and this is why it's the fastest way around any Minecraft world in any dimension, because you don't need roads, you don't need tracks, you don't even need a giant slab of blue ice. You can fly around just like this, which is nice. But how do you use this to the best of your advantage? Because there are lots of things that seem optimal, such as flying a firework towards the direction you want to go, that actually are not that in the slightest. So let's get into it by going back to the overworld. Oh look, we're back in the Ultimate Guide world, and I'm here to start by saying that Minecraft Elytras have a lot of interesting things you might not have known, and the first is about durability, because durability is used based on gliding, and every 4 seconds it will use a piece of durability. This means that it's actually very different to other tools, because you measure its durability not in times used, but in time used. That is to say, a regular Elytra will last for 7 minutes and 12 seconds. If you have Unbreaking, this goes up on average to 14 minutes. Unbreaking 2 takes this on average up to 21 minutes, and Unbreaking 3 means you can fly for almost half an hour non-stop before your Elytra will break. This is an average because Unbreaking is a % chance of using durability, and so in theory this could go as low as 7 minutes or as high as 7,000, but ultimately it means that if you have Unbreaking with no mending whatsoever, you can fly for a really long time, but once you use up all of that durability on any level of Elytra, something interesting happens. So with my stone pickaxe from earlier, that I used to help me with my nether and my portal, you can see something interesting happens here, which is that once I use up the entirety of the pickaxe, it breaks and it goes away forever, but that's not true for the Elytra, because when the Elytra breaks, you get a broken Elytra item. This is absolutely fascinating because it means that there is a bit of an interesting game that you can play here, because usually when it comes to combining tools, say 2 pickaxes together, you get the 2 items plus a 5% bonus durability, which usually doesn't mean very much, but if we take the example of, say, Elytras, you combine 2 of those together, and all of a sudden you've got something worthwhile. You can also take your regular Elytra, put on Mending, and then use Experience, or you can take some Phantom Membranes, like we've got right here, and you can use these to actually repair your Elytra from 0 durability upwards. You can also combine 2 broken Elytras, and I think that's wonderful by itself. But speaking of wonderful, let's talk about things you can do with them. Someone has just joined. That's an old friend from like a decade ago. But getting back to the video, gliding straight forward can reach speeds of 30 blocks per second. Let me show you what that looks like. Wowee! This is faster than running by about 5 times, it's faster than a horse, and it's faster than most other forms of transport, but if you fly downwards, steeply downwards, you can reach speeds of up to 78 blocks per second. Look at this speed right here. So fireworks are also useful because they can boost you up to that same speed while gliding. In fact, the firework is going to be based on the duration of the effect, so if you have a flight duration 1 firework, this is what 99% of Minecraft players will use. You get a 1 second boost, flight duration 2 gives you a 2 second boost, and flight duration 3 gives you a 3 second boost. You might be saying, wait, Twincat, did you just say most players use the worst firework? Well, here's the reason why. If I use a firework duration 3, you can see that it's still boosting me around, but I don't necessarily want that. I might want to land right over here, and so the extra 2 seconds are not just a waste because it costs more gunpowder, but actively harmful to my course too. Pro tip, by the way, don't use a firework star with the don't use a firework with the firework star because each use will cause damage while flying. Each firework star added increases that amount of damage too, and so let me show you. Here is a firework. Let's just spit one out. It's a firework with a bunch of balls attached. And if I now shoot myself in this one, look at that. I just damaged myself down to 9 hearts. Did he just follow me all the way over here and go, you know, I'm done with that, and then leave? I think he did. What a fun addition to the video today. Anyway, so as you can see, that is the reason you shouldn't use firework rockets. They can be absolutely disastrous and basically kill you when flying. To be fair, you can also die while flying, and fun fact, you'll get this little death message, but another fun fact you might not have realized is if you play Bedrock or console, you're actually able to do something that you cannot do while playing on the PC, which is cancel your Elytra in midair. I don't know why that counted as a fall from a high place, but fun fact, you can actually, oh no, I'm gonna do a 9 damage again. You can actually cancel your fall while in midair, and then you can land yourself in places like this without ever having to, you know, kinetic damage yourself. That's a rough time, or also preventing any of the other things. So that's a delightful thing you might not have realized. You can actually prevent yourself from taking a lot of damage in midair, and it's just one of those useful techniques you're going to need to learn. Speaking of useful techniques, did you know you can use Riptide while gliding with the Elytra? Here it is. Here's a Riptide Elytra, and here is some rain that magically just started falling. The max speed while doing this is 125 blocks per second, which doesn't sound believable until you actually do it for a bit and see what this looks like. It is a matter of time until you hit a piece of terrain that you're not expecting if you do this. It's very tricky because if you go too high, the rain turns to snow, but while there is rain, like there is down here, you can see the speed that this can be boosted up to, and it is wild. It is so much faster than an Elytra can go. If I use all of these firework rockets in a row, you can see that, looking at my Z coordinate, that we're going at about this speed right here. However, if we come closer to the ground, oh, we picked the wrong terrain for this one. If we come closer to the ground where it's raining, and then we launch ourselves over and over and over again, trying to stay at this sweet spot in height, and just maximizing this, look how fast that number is coming down now. Oh no, I've hit the unloaded chunks and still have this much speed left over. That is why the Riptide Trident is so fun and so dangerous. Use it in survival at your peril, but if you need to travel tens of thousands of blocks, there is no other tool that will get you where you need to be without experiencing kinetic energy. So with that said, let's fly around the rest of these little pillars that exist as a fun little mini game as a reminder that the Elytra is an incredible form of transport, but you really need to know a few crucial things. The first thing is that it's obtained from the end. You don't need to fight any shulkers to get it. It is great by itself. The second thing is that you can cancel your Elytra in midair. This is dangerous if you're just hanging over nothing, but if you need to rapidly lose altitude, you can do that. If you need to rapidly gain altitude, use a firework to go towards the sky. It's real great. If you need to gain speed, aim downwards. Not all the way, but at about a 40 degree angle, and you'll get a lot more speed. And that is something that's incredible, but if you're trying to go huge distances, you are best off waiting until it rains. There's actually a Elder Guardian in here still. I would have been sure that he died earlier. But if you want to make most of everything, then you're obviously going to want to use the Riptide, and that should be everything you need to know about the Elytra in Minecraft. As far as, you know, like the deeper meaning behind the Elytra. I think that it's a very valuable tool that you should keep in mind is a tool. Lots of people get stuck on the idea that you need to use the Elytra to get anywhere, but even though it's fun and it's great and it's incredible to be able to cross a mountain with its dripstone caves just by flying over it, you do actually lose some of the value of Minecraft by going over the top like this. So I would say, just like any tool, know when to use it and know when you actually have more fun by not using it. But that's not a popular message for a guide video. The bigger one you probably want to know is like, oh, do you like flying fast? If so, have you considered flying slowly too? Have you at least considered not blowing yourself up? Because if so, this video has succeeded at its anti-radicalization. With that said, I've got one last little message to raise, which is a fun one you might not have ever realized, which is the Elytra looks different for every single cape. Right now, my Elytra looks like copper. That's not what the design looks like here, but you can have it in all different varieties, including what is often a fan favorite, the lovely rainbow cape. But yeah, the Elytra will fit whichever cape design you have, and so every cape design that comes out actually has a new Elytra design too, which is a fun little bonus for the end of the video here. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you very much for Chris for building this and all of the Ultimate Guide worlds. Thank you for watching it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. You can check out the playlist, link down below, if you want to see more Ultimate Guides, because for now, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.